So step 5, transfer fund from our main bank account to the new bank account. We are going to do this is create a journal entry to do the transfer. Okay, this is like when you write a homework question. Okay, debit the new bank account, credit the existing bank account by $1,500. And by making the journal entry, you see when I do the introduction, I already create a favorable transaction, right? This is entering. But if you didn't, no problem. We use the FB50. So FB50 as the transaction code and click on enter. And this is the interface we enter journal entry manually into the SAP system. And in the top is like the title, or like the intro part. So we need to put the document date. You can use the calendar, right? Remember, I can design this field as a calendar rather than asking the users. Okay. So to avoid the typos. And you can use a different posting date, but mostly they are the same. And the reference or headers, so they probably call the reference is enter your 030, and the header is the transfer fund. It's like your memo. Transfer fund or transfer fund. So like your memo, the date, and the currency is already there. Okay. And again, when you work on the different rows under the journal entry, if you have a small laptop, so you may really need to use to move up and down so you can see all of the rows. Okay, if I have a larger one, I can see all of these clearly. Okay, from the rows and the columns. But again, if you have a smaller display or screen, you may need to use the straps. Also move the straps to left to right, right, and up and down, so you can see all of the column and rows. And here I only needed 2 rows. That's not a big problem. Okay. And this is, so I normally follow, so put the debit account first, right? So similar when we do the homework. So debit account will be the new bank account we create. So 10, yeah, you already have it, right? So you can really click on that. 10 pop-up, right? And this will be debit. And be careful, the amount 1,500. Okay, not to put it in the currency. Okay, this is the amount in the document. And then the next row is your outgoing, right? So where we are going to draw the fund, transfer from. See your main bank account, right? Where we copy the bank account structure from. And that one should be credit. Same amount. Double check you have the correct account. So see here, when we enter journal entry, we use the account number rather than account name. We write because the number are standard, 6 digits. So before you save or post, so when you see the post, means that's an accounting document, because for accounting we post. When we click on post, post what? Post the journal entry to the ledger system. Okay, post is a accounting specific command. But before you post, a rules of thumb, we normally recommend people to do a simulating. It's like a check. So ask the system to give you a checkup for the journal entry. Have you entered everything correctly? Especially about your amount or the debit correct, because when it's appearing, like this is like a document, right? So do read it. For example, I may use accounts receivable or payable. like incorrectly, like the previously I did. Or you are using the wrong account receivables, right? So double check, make sure everything is right, because if not right, you can go back and no, okay. So you can go back and change, okay, like before you post. But I already simulate and I know everything is right. Now you can click on post and means saved, and is an accounting document, and the document number will appear. So it's numbered, sequentially will be numbered. Okay, for my account, this is number 1. Makes sense? And this journal entry is like the one we just see, debit the new bank account and credit the existing bank account. Okay, step 5. Now let's exit. And we'll see this because I already know it's saved, right? Because it's asking, do you want to enter new journal entries? No more. So I will just exit. So next one, enter the invoice. Not step 6. I'm skipping step 6. Step 6 is the review. Okay, you can check it later. I'm moving to step 7. So 2 more real account transactions. Create the invoice receipt. We received the invoice from the rental company, and so it's like debit your rental expense and credit the accounts payable. But this one, we are not really using the FB50. I'm using the special invoice journal entry or data input FB60. Click on enter. It's looking very similar to FB50, right? But this special you can see the invoice journal entry. So here I need to use my vendor, and remember my vendor is 00. But if you forgot, again, okay, use the search bar button, put your search term again, and find the one Eden Prairie. Okay, so 100013. So I think for the early ones you finish, you can follow my format. You just change probably this to 4 or 5, right? That's like something, but my 3. Okay. But double check you got the right one, okay, from your case. And invoice date, again, use the calendar as today. And be careful, the amount we are going to input here is 1,500, because we already know what type of transaction, like is a reconciliation, is a payable account, an invoice. The only thing we need to enter in underneath is the expense account we want to put on debit, because you can see here is all debit, right? No credit choices, because each time we can recognize multiple expense account, but we only use the one, the new expense account. But imagine if you enter a few, like 10 or 5 different invoices, so you can put them together, right? The total accounts payable and each of the invoices, or you can add another one and then another one. And I think probably we can enter another 1,500 here. But no credit. Okay, the credit is already caught up by the type of the either invoice or either accounts payable. So it's calling the accounts payable we set up for this vendor, which we set up in when we create the vendor master data. And again, simulate. Oh, this require a cost center. I can see my cost center directly here. If you don't move the strap, okay, so you can see the cost center. This is for cost control and cost management. For expense, they want to know who is responsible, or which department is responsible for this rental expense. We are going to use the, I think, NAND, or if you just use like NA something, it's pop up. So you can see it will be attributed to a admin cost, or to your admin manager, like responsibility center, cost center, that's helping internal control and internal management. That's not for other, only for expense account, okay, I believe. Responsibility, okay, and then we can simulate. And you see your debit and credit. So debit is the rental expense and credit is your cardinal, and they call vendor account. They didn't really show the accounts payable, but behind that, they will call the accounts payable to that vendor. And now you can post. And this is a different type of document. Okay, so 19 is invoice document. So let me do so. This is step 7. Now I think we only have like after making the payments, we can quickly check the financial statement, or if you like. And then step 8 is another review. I will let it go. Step 9 is also review, and then step 10 post payments. Post payments is like we debit the vendor account, the accounts payable to that vendor, and credit the bank account, or all the cash payments. So this payment we are going to do it from the accounting outgoing payments. So if you follow this one, accounting, financial accounting, and I'm close this. Accounts payable. Now we have special accounts payable and accounts receivables, and document entry, and then outgoing payments. Here, where is my outgoing payments? Accounts payable, document entry. Accounting, financial accounting, accounts pay. Oh, here, like this is not, yeah, document entry underneath here. Okay, the outgoing payments and the post. Okay, so if you use the transaction code, it will be F-53. Okay, double click. This is like processing the payments. You are not directly making the journal entry, but after you process the transaction, the journal entry will be made directly. So document date 16th, and account, be careful. Again, we are calling the new bank account we create, and amount is 1,500. And again, we are assuming no bank charge. Okay, if you have bank transaction fees, for example, I have $3 bank fee, you can enter here. Okay. And then the open item, that's your vendor account, or again, is your vendor, I believe is 0013, right? That's mine. I hope it's right, I remember. That's probably all of the thing we need. And invoice, you can put a document like a reference, right? So you can put your HR, this is like HR, like 30, okay, as a memo, okay, HR function. And then process open item, yeah, gladly. And no discount. Again, this is a checkup, okay, checkup have we entered. because if you didn't because the invoice is 1,500, sometimes we may not pay the full amount, right? So you may have for larger invoices, you may pay twice. So if I didn't pay the full amount, I may have not assigned the balance. For example, I'm only paying 500, but here I'm paying the full amount, so the not assigned should be 0. And here, this is the place you can put, do you have any discount? Like if you're buying something, for example, I can have a $10 account, right? In that case, they will process differently, but I don't have any, right? So you can put 0 and then post. And we got another document number, but that means the payment have been processed and then the journal entry has been made. Exit. And if you want to see, so let me quickly show you the step 13, run a financial statement, or you see the account. Okay, step 3, run a, even we only have 3 journal entries, we can make a simple financial statement. So this one, I have no company, like transaction code. Okay, I have to start, so it's kind of long. Let me closing this. So accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, information system. Why is not showing? Yeah. So information system, and then general ledger report, financial statement, cash flow, and I believe this should be general. Actual to actual comparison. And this one, you do have a transaction code. Okay. So this one, SLR, SLR, but it's a longer one. I don't know, some of the accounting transaction code is different from the processes. Oh, but this is the transaction code you can input, but I'm going to double click. And put your chart of account, put your own chart account. Because if you are the manager, you can run multiple chart of accounts, but for your user, you only can run your own addition. Okay. And then company code consistent. So I can run a range if I'm the admin of the system. Okay. And then the financial statement version. So use the VAUS. That's the US version. And reporting year, be careful, that should be 2014. Oh, it's already there, don't change. In my demo, the video demo, I probably used the 2022 or 2023. That's early years, but right now should be 24. Okay, so just leave it as the default. And then the format, let's use the tree. So even in the file, it put 23, but it used 24, okay, because this is the current. And layout, I can put, that's only the format, okay, 1 SAP. I believe this is 1, not I. And then execute. And ignore, these are just warnings. And you can see just extend, okay, extend, because you can see that's the one we have. And if you can extend, let's give you the details. Because after we make a payment, there is no ending balance for the accounts payable. So accounts payable is closed. It's basically we have a debit balance under the rental expense and a negative, let me see, not percent. We should have another. The bank account, the non-bank account, we have a negative balance. And you have a debit balance under your the rental expense. For you may think, what's happened for my new bank account? Remember, we debited, we credited, we got a fund, and we paid. So that one has no balance at all. So only your main bank account and the rental expense, you have balance. Okay, so you this is a combination for both the income statement and the balance sheet. But if you have a real company, you have a more complicated financial statement than this. Okay, but just telling you, so in the real ERP system, so you can see as accountants, our main job is process the transactions. As long we process the transaction using the different formats of the entering the journal entries, all of the other things can be handled and generated by the ERP system. Okay. You can require different the formats of the statements. And again, once you finish, you don't need to submit anything, right? And that's, I have many different ways to check what you have completed. As a faculty account, I can check all of your accounts, but you couldn't check other users, okay, as like in the student accounts. And also I can calculate if I want to see like classical list. So I normally like this actually for the format. Okay, this is more like a trial balance, right? So like classical format, and you can have comparison to prior accounting periods. Okay, that's the two accounts we have. So I think I'm going to stop here. Any